This is my video on classes, and I'm going to use a code that I recently wrote for my final project. And yeah, so what are classes? Classes are like blueprints. You use that class to create as many objects as you want with the same structure that you're going to have in that class. For example, here in this game of mine, it's a snake game. I have an apple and I have a snake. Both are gonna be squares. They're both gonna have position when being when being rendered. And so because they both have that, but they both are different from each other, because the snake eats the apple, and well, they're different, right? They're not the same thing. They're not gonna do the same. They're not gonna act the same. They're not gonna be the same thing, but they have the same structure. They're both gonna have a coordinate. They're gonna, have the same size. So I create an entity class, and I made this class abstract. Why? Because abstract classes cannot be initialized. They cannot be created. You cannot create an object that is coming from an abstract class. It must come from a normal class, not abstract. Abstract classes you can use to create other classes, and then those classes are going to create the objects that you can use in your program. So here, what we do, we create variables. We initialize some variables. In this case, x and y is going to be the coordinates, and then one for the size. They protected before, just because if I did private, it could not be used in another class. So protected makes it not public, but not private. This is the constructor. Every class needs a constructor. So when you're creating the object, you're going to use the constructor to create. You're going to use the constructor to create the object. This information right here is going to create the object. Here I created an abstract tick, an abstract render. I think if I try to explain this right now, it's going to be too long. It's just, I tried before, I just had an 8-minute video. I had to delete everything and start again. So I'm going to pass this right now, but these are going to be written in the snake and the apple classes. And then you create get and getters and setters. So because this is protected, to access, if I want to access the x, if I want to access the y, if I want to access both, I have to use this method to call. Okay, so if I try to access, like if I do like entity.x, it's not gonna allow me to do it because x is protected. The only way to have access to this x variable is by creating a function, a method that is going to return this x. Okay. Same thing with set. I cannot just go and say like object dot x equal to something, because it's a protected variable. Doing protected variable or private variables, it's really good because it allows you to understand where your code is breaking early. You don't have to go all over your code. Because you make more strict, and strict usually is good because you make your code work in a perfect flow. So I cannot simply go entity or object.x and find it. I have to get it, or I have to set it. I have to call it. And if something goes wrong here, the computer is gonna, the compiler is gonna tell me exactly where the mistake is. And I'm gonna go briefly on my snake. class here. So as you can see, I am extending entity. I don't create a new entity, I extend it, because in the abstract class it was created to create other classes. And then this is a constructor of my snake. As you can see, x and y comes from the entity, size comes from the entity. This is going to be the game. This is something else I'm not going to go over. I already passed 5 minutes. I can't. And well, yeah, that's it. I hope you guys understood. I think it is a little complicated, but it's not that complicated. Classes are basically, this is going to be a constructor. You're going to pass all the variables you want to use. You must put getters and setters so you can retrieve and you can access those private variables that you cannot have access to. And yeah, thank you guys.